Cool.
That's gonna be how the show starts.
That's whatever.
You gotta say cool. That's you ever watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say that's where that comes from. That's funny.
I know.
Funny.
I know where that came from.
All right. All right, so we are back on another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Got a lot of basketball to talk about, but before we start talking about basketball, Jake and I are very excited. We are going to be welcoming another Wisconsin Badger to the show next Wednesday. We're going to have Ricardo Holman on with us next Wednesday, so we're excited for that. So be sure to tune in for that. That'll be our third Badger on in like the last 4 weeks. If you include the crew who's going to be a Badger, or I think he should be now because technically he started on January 1st. So
there's an Instagram out there and it's called Roll Badgers, and I'm starting to think that we should be Roll Badgers because we're just rolling these babies in.
We're just rolling them into the show.
Come on.
We'll have to see if we can get CJ Getz to hook us up with some more Badgers players.
Shit, man, we might get Ricardo now. We're gonna have two voices in that
Ricardo can hook us up too. That'd be sweet. So yeah, that's coming up. That'll be next Wednesday. So we're very excited for that. We're gonna start with Bucks basketball today, actually. So let's go with what's up, Simon? Let's go with Bucks power pair and underrated performer. I don't think we can understate how dominant Giannis Antetokounmpo was last night. It's also not shocking that we both have Giannis in our power pairs because 43, 45, and 55 in his last 3 games. I'm going to pull it up here just a sec. Okay. So Giannis now up to 22 double-doubles. This is 2 crazy stats that I had to have here for this. He is just the 3rd player since the ABA-NBA merger in 1976-77 season to record 3 straight games of 40-plus points and 10-plus rebounds. Russell Westbrook and Moses Malone are the only other 2 that have done it. Neither of them did it 4 times in a row. So if Giannis has 40 and 10 tonight, he'll be the first player ever to have 4 straight games of 40 and 10. Or I should say, since the merger.
He will have a good chance.
Probably did it, yeah.
He will have a very good chance tonight.
He will, because the Bucks are going to be a little shorthanded tonight, which we'll talk about when we talk about what's next. But, it's very, very interesting. Then, next, Giannis is also the 3rd player to have 140 points, 50 rebounds, and 15 assists in 3-game span.
That's nuts.
The only other 2 that have done that are Wilt Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor.
My God. And Elgin Baylor gets kind of looked over at all-time greats. But if you're in a stat with Wilt Chamberlain, you did some shit. Just going to say that.
I mean, if you look at it, obviously Russell Westbrook is still an active player, but you look at the other 3 players is that his name is being said in the same breath as having done the same things as Moses Malone, Wilt Chamberlain, and Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
I feel like Elgin Baylor is kind of like the NBA version of Joe Namath, where people don't talk about him a lot, but then once you hear the name, you're like, oh, that guy's an all-time great.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I got nothing else to add. That was very well said. That was great.
Yeah, this is also same 2 guys actually. Elgin Baylor and Wilt Chamberlain are the only other players to have back-to-back 40, 20, and 5 games as well.
And the craziest thing about the assists? I feel like he left 10 to 12 on the court.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
With open opportunities.
I mean, you look at some of these games, some of them easily could have been triple-doubles.
This is side note, but I just received our 4 tickets for Sunday, so just wanted to give you the good news live. So
yes, yeah, we will be there for that. So Matt, if you're watching, Matt was talking to us about it. He was there last week, so we're going to be here this week. Yeah,
just received them right now, so let's go.
Sweet. All right, who else do we got for power pair? I know we had the same 2 guys, so.
Before we move on real quick, Giannis had a weekly average. He played 3 games of 47.6, 17.3, and 6.3 assists. on 54% shooting. He also averaged 1.3 steals. Yeah, this is not a video game. This is a real human. And he ended up plus 24 for the week. So that was great. In the last 50 years, this is the last 50 years. This is a long time back. There's only been 3 players that averaged 45 and 15 over a 3-game span. Bob McAdoo in 1974-75, Moses Malone in 81-82, and now enter Giannis Antetokounmpo in 22-23. And I was going to make the stupid joke that Giannis is averaging 55 points per game in 2023 since he's only played 1 game. But the other person we had is another player that's playing great for us. He averaged a double-double on the week. He averaged 19.5 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 45% from the field, and the three-point line, averaged a steal. He was plus 16. That is, of course, Bobby Portis. Don't let his impact go unnoticed, people. I know that you're seeing the Bucks lose some games that they shouldn't lose, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on for the Bucks, and we need to remain patient. And Tyler's going to touch on that more in a little bit here, but just appreciate what we have in front of us, with Giannis and Bobby and Brooke, Brooke slapping shots away left and right still. So let's not let that go away. I know that it was exciting in the beginning of the year, still should be exciting now because he's still doing it. So
we are approaching the halfway point of the season. We aren't quite there yet. Mm-hmm. Brooke Lopez has 96 blocks on the season.
That is nuts, bro.
We assuming he plays the same number of games in the second half as he played in the first half, Brooke Lopez is going to finish with over 200 blocks on the season.
Man. And that's without full defensive help too.
That's insane. He blocked 6 shots last night.
I know, dude. That's why I brought that up about the blocks, because I don't see anybody giving him love for it anymore. It's like you still need to give love to Brooke and Bobby and all the players still contributing, and Giannis overshadows them all, which is why he's the mayor of Milwaukee.
I got a couple things for Bobby. So Bobby Portis played in 4 games in the last week. Mm-hmm. Hit double-doubles in all 4.
Yes, that's outstanding.
The double-double leaderboards it's 1, 2, and then it's Giannis with 22 double-doubles. And then it's Bobby Portis with 22 double-doubles.
Yeah, if you look at duos with the combined double-doubles for the season, Giannis and Bobby are on top of the NBA leaderboard for
way out ahead. They have I think they have 9 more than the next duo.
Yeah, I don't
Jokic and Aaron Gordon. I think it was 44 for those two, and then it was Aaron Gordon and Jokic had 35. If I'm not mistaken.
It's Trae Young and Clint Capella have 35.
Ah, yeah.
Nikola and Aaron have 32. They're tied with Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox with 32. Okay. So don't worry, I wouldn't remember Trae Young either because I hate him, so I put him in the back of my mind.
Yeah, he's a complete liability on one end of the floor. James said, not gonna lie, I've never been one to put much into double and triple doubles, although they are impressive. It's a little less impressive when guys like Luka that play 38 minutes a game do it. But for a guy like Bobby Portis who plays 27 minutes a game, it's a little more impressive, and it's something that he makes an effort to do. It's not situations where when Russell Westbrook was on the Thunder and Steven Adams would box people out so that Russell Westbrook could grab rebounds on purpose. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit different, but Bobby Portis, it's impressive because he does a lot of offensive rebounding too. He's actually one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA, which that stuff makes a difference. So stuff like that, it kind of depends on how you're doing it to me as well, not just the fact that you are doing it.
Well, see, that's the context of the situation, correct? So when you look at Bobby, I believe last night he had a double-double in 22 minutes. He just kept adding points after that. But I believe it was 22 minutes. He already had a double-double. That's not even half the game. So if you're going to tell me that isn't impressive, well, I'm going to tell you you're a liar, because that is, because you have a guy that is scoring at an efficient rate. Most nights, Bobby and Giannis score at efficient rates. Yep. And you have the guys that are helping you control the rebounding. And you're going to tell me that rebounding isn't important? It is. It's hella important.
Under the Budenholzer era, they've been consistently one of the top 5 rebounding teams in the NBA.
I agree.
The numbers will back it up for you too. So for an underrated performer, a guy that I wanted to throw out there, a guy who's not going to get talked about a ton, but just wanted to give him a little love, is AJ Green.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 10 points in the first Washington game, and he gave the Bucks a little bit of a spark against the Timberwolves on Friday night. And if I'm being honest with you, I think he's already passed up Jordan Nwora on the depth chart.
Yeah, it looks that way. Either that or there's something going on with Nwora. I mean, they're probably shipping him out, in my opinion.
Right. I think he's at his ceiling, and I think they know that. Yeah, James did say they are impressive.
No, I agree.
He just doesn't put a lot of stock into him, I think is what he was getting at.
Yeah, but they still have an effect on the team and the game. And
right.
They show energy level.
If are involved with a triple-double, it's a team effort. And that's for sure. Like, it's kind of cliche that, like, when you ask a professional athlete about themselves, like, they're going to be like, I got to give credit to my teammates. Like, that. It's a genuine thing when they're talking about like triple doubles and they're bringing up assists. Like, it does take, your teammates to finish off the plays for you to get those assists. So that definitely counts.
I agree.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about Giannis, Bobby, and AJ Green before we start talking about games?
Giannis is good. That's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with the first game. The Bucks and the Bulls. The Bucks got down early, 16-9. They went on an 11-0 run. George Hill gave the Bucks a little bit of a boost on both ends of the floor. He hadn't played like the last 4 or 5 games, so he was well rested and gave the Bucks a boost. What did you see from this game? I know there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Like, there's the game to talk about itself and some extracurricular stuff. But let's talk about the game first, and then we'll talk about the other stuff.
So in terms of the game, I mean, I thought the Bucks were playing as good as they could. Obviously, Giannis was putting the team on his back like he did in a couple other games this week. But for them to and I don't want to get on Giannis too much because, like I said, he puts the team on his back. But the lack of execution towards the end of this ball game, it really hurt. But the thing that I'm going to point out is Grayson Allen. I'm going to give him some shit real quick here because if he would have shot just a tad better, made 1 or 2 of those open threes, because he was getting wide open threes and he's just shooting bad right now. He's in a slump and it happens, right? But if Grayson Allen just finishes off 1 or 2 of those possessions, middle, late of the fourth quarter, we're not even in a position where we have to inbounds the ball and the ball can be stolen for a tie game. You know what I mean? So that's the part of the game where it might get overlooked. Like, they're going to show the highlight of Giannis throwing the ball in and it gets stolen and he almost chased the guy down, right? But we're not going to show the 4 minutes before that where Grayson Allen had a couple wide open looks, one off of an offensive rebound, same spot, and he still misses. So that's the kind of stuff that really irks me. The thing that really, really shocked me when I looked at the box score of this game, the box score portion, we shot 110 field goals, dude. That is insane.
I mean, the game did go into overtime, I guess. But
I know, but they shot 92. We shot 110. They shot 92, and we lost. I mean, like I said, that just shows execution. They were 9 of 23 from 3. That's 39. That's almost 40%. That's respectable. We were 9 of 44. That's 20%. That can't happen.
So, and I know a lot of this is going to come down to, well, if they had done this would have happened. But
right.
I wanted to say that basically, like, Giannis was amazing for 47 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's absolutely no denying that. You can see when he plays, like all the plays that he made. We talk so often about how amazing Giannis is. Brad brought up a good point with the 92 shots means we were hitting the boards. That's definitely
we were. We had
definitely 61. A great point is getting the one and dones. I want to just kind of like not necessarily even play the devil's advocate. I just want to give another perspective. So we talk so often about how Giannis is great. He's great. He's the best in the league. He's the best two-way player in the NBA, which I strongly believe to be the case. But he's still human.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Giannis isn't always going to make the exact correct play, the exact correct time. He's not going to make every shot. Like, he struggled in the overtime period. He was trying to win the game kind of by himself a little bit. And, we talk like the last, what is it, like the last 12 seconds, the last 9 seconds, 2 turnovers. Like, the thing that bothered me more about the first one where he was trying to inbound the ball That one, I saw people being like, well, he had to throw it in. It's like, no, he actually didn't. The Bucks had one timeout remaining, actually. So like that's just a situational awareness thing where it's like I would basically guarantee you that Giannis watching this game back, watching the film with the assistant coaches and stuff, that they'll point that out to him. Like, hey, you're going into a situation where there's going to be tons of overplay on the inbounds pass. Like, keep in the back of your mind that we have one timeout left if you need it. And that's like a learning experience. Like, Giannis doesn't know everything there is to know about the game. It might seem like he does because he's so damn good at it, but it just goes to show, like, the guy who's the best in the league, like, can still grow and still improve.
Scary.
So I just wanted to kind of throw that out that he's still human.
Right.
Aside from that, Giannis is the first player on the Bucks since 2013 to record 22 rebounds in a game. Do you know who the last one was that did it?
Dwight Howard?
On the Bucks, bud.
Oh, shit. I was like, shit, since 2013. The last one? I got two guesses. I'm going to say Bogut.
Nope.
Ooh, not Bogut? Man, I felt good about that one. I'm just going to throw a random flyer out there, and you tell me, because he was pretty good rebounder. I'll say Drew Gooden.
Oh, no.
Did I get it?
Gooden. Oh. You started to say the sound, and I was like, oh, is he going to guess it? It's John Henson.
Damn it. Why did I think of John Henson? When I think of John Henson, I just think of that lefty.
You said he was actually a pretty good rebounder. I'm like, oh, he's going to get it right. No.
He was a pretty good rebounder, actually. He was a pretty good shot blocker. He would be good. He'd be a good backup center option on this team, which is kind of sad because we could use one of those. Dude, just come in, run your ass off, and block a couple shots. Cool.
Grab a couple rebounds.
Yeah.
Try not to get pushed around too hard.
Yeah. I was going to say Dan God's reach to be funny, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to look like an idiot.
I thought you were going to go there, but
no.
Okay. So the other thing we had to talk about, just because it's really annoying, but seeing the way, like, so the Grayson Allen thing happens where Grayson Allen gets pushed by Patrick Williams. He kind of sells it a little bit, and then he bumps into DeMar DeRozan. And if I had $1 for the number of people that I saw say that he put a forearm into DeRozan's neck, like, I'd be quitting my job and doing this show full time. It was so insane to me that people still judge Grayson Allen on the acts of his past more than looking at one single event objectively.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I don't want to go as far as to say it's dangerous, but I'll say that it's at least a little bit ignorant to not be able to look at things, as a single incident, as opposed to being like, nope, that's what he's done this few times, so that's automatically what he's doing in the future. That didn't sit right with me. And then for the people in the Chicago broadcast booth to be saying that people need to resort to a fist fight with Grayson Allen because they believed it was a dirty play, that sat even less okay with me.
Yep, me too.
You are in a position where you have thousands and thousands of people watching this game, listening to you talk, potentially millions, because Chicago's a big city, and you are telling people that the answer to what they perceive as a problem is to start throwing punches.
And then you wonder why the crime rates are what they are.
What the fuck is that? Like, that's seriously like some of the worst commentating I have ever heard. To be saying that the answer to your problem is to start a fist fight.
Yeah.
Those people get paid to talk about the Bulls basketball team.
There are kids watching that.
That's exactly where I was going next. And now you're telling kids, like, you are in a position of potential influence.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're telling people to start fistfights if you think there's a problem.
Without even, like, getting all the information, right? Because DeMar...
Which is what DeRozan didn't do. But yes, continue.
Right. So that's the angle I'm going to go with, right?
Go.
So DeMar gets pushed, and he falls to the ground. And I'm going to say, in terms of, like, NBA basketball, I've watched a lot of fucking basketball in my life. And I'm sure James will agree with this, even though we don't like each other's teams. I've seen way more physical hits than that.
DeRozan definitely sold it, too. Like, Grayson Allen sold the contact that Patrick Williams pushed him, which he did. Yeah. But like DeRozan sold when Grayson Allen came into him too.
100%. And when you said bumped, I was going to say heavy on the bumped because he barely touched him. And I agree with you that Grayson was probably selling it too, but Patrick Williams is a pretty big guy.
Right.
And he two-hand pushed
Right.
Grayson Allen. So to sit here and say that Grayson maybe didn't sell it, I'm not going to say that because we don't know, and I think that he did as well. But for him to bump into DeRozan and DeRozan just get up because he sees his Grayson Allen, he knows he's going to get a reaction out of the crowd. So really, in a way, he's kind of trying to get the crowd into it to pump his team up. So I get that. But, if that is what he was doing, I was trying to put a positive spin on it. But for him to just get up and be like, oh, you want to fucking go? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. And then the announcers, man, I could not believe because I had to stream off my app, right? And I'm listening to I had to watch the Chicago one. I always have to watch the home team. So if the Bucks are on the road, I have to listen to the home team. So I'm listening to them, and he's just like, yeah, he won't be doing all that if you give him that two-piece. I'm thinking like, bro, there's literally like 11-year-old kids watching this shit right now, and they're hearing you say, if you feel like you were wronged, you got to get into a fight. That is absolutely not what you fucking teach a kid. My stepson talks all the time. When he's playing in the game, he gets pushed to the ground. He's like, oh, I want to go fight him. I'm like, no, it's not how we handle shit.
No.
You let your game do the talking, man. You don't have to go up there and punch him in the face because that's not going to get you anything. That's just going to get you in trouble is all it's going to do. So, yeah, dude, when I heard that, I was just like, no fucking way they're talking about this. And they're on NBC, which is pretty big network. Yep. So NBC Chicago probably gets a lot of viewers. So for them to talk like that, I was just like, and if people from Chicago are hearing this, they're going to think we're soft. Oh, you're from Wisconsin, so you're soft. No, we're just logical. We just don't walk up to people and punch them in the fucking mouth for no reason.
Yeah.
Over a basketball game.
I'll say, yeah, we're advocating for better solving of problems. Like the thing like Grayson didn't go and get into DeMar DeRozan's face. Even when Grayson was actually getting pushed into DeRozan, he didn't like fully extend. As soon as he bumped into DeRozan, he stopped. Like you can see, he just like stops exactly where he is. Mm-hmm. And like it happened to me, like I commented on it from the Wisco Fanatics Twitter page, and people were like, oh, you're from Wisconsin, you're biased, or oh, you're from this, or you're whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, I'm choosing to look at this objectively. Mm-hmm. Like Grayson Allen had an incident against Wisconsin that seemed like a dirty play. Like I've been in your shoes, literally. Like he's on my team now, so like it is what it is. But that's going back to it. Like you can look at things objectively as single incidents. Mm-hmm. People are like sharing like this is all of Grayson's dirty plays, and it's like I don't even think half of those were.
And you know what?
He's got some, but people are still bringing up all of his college stuff, and it's like, bro, that was 6 years ago.
Bro, a lot has changed in 6 years. Yeah. And I'm going to answer James' question real quick. James, the announcer, one of the announcers, his name was Stacy, because I heard the other one talking to him. King. Yep. He said, he literally word for word said, he won't be doing all that if you give him a two-piece, which is definitely talking about a bam-bam, a two-piece. Yeah, so I 100% do not agree with what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people got to get over that shit. And I had a person tell me, a Bulls fan tell me, oh, you're only sticking up for him because he's on your team. I replied to him and I said, dude, this is literally his second year on the team. Yeah. I literally did not hate him when he was on the Grizzlies. I didn't care.
Hate him when he was on the Jazz either.
Like I didn't care. Like it is what it is. I mean, if we get into a scuffle, I think emotions are high. It's starting to get intense, starting to get a little chippy. That doesn't mean that it's Grayson Allen's fault that things are getting chippy.
Right.
The Bulls and Bucks hate each other. Chicago and Wisconsin do not get along.
Right.
We whooped your ass for how many years? Don't you think the Bulls players are a little bit amped up to try to beat us?
Yeah.
This is their first time beating us in back-to-back games since 2017. That's a long fucking time to get your ass whooped consistently. So the Bulls want to change that narrative, so they're a little bit amped up. So you're going to tell me that they're not giving a little extra pushes, they're not getting a little extra shoves? Grayson Allen's going to take that, but they're only going to look at the Grayson Allen portion of it, right? They're not going to look at their players pushing, which they should. Like I said, tensions can be a little bit higher in the game. So Grayson's feeding off that as well, and I love that you brought up the point that he stopped immediately after he made his little contact, and I mean little contact. Dude, if he wanted to, he really could have ran him over.
Right.
And the funniest part is like big bad Chicago, right? Oh, we're from Chicago. We're from Chicago. You guys are getting punked by a 6'4" skinny white kid. For real. Like, come on.
It's the other couple things that I have that I'm thinking about with this too is like Grayson Allen doesn't immediately like go and get in Patrick Williams' face when he got pushed. He doesn't run up to DeMar DeRozan as soon as he's pissed. Like he's literally trying to tell him, he's like, I got pushed into you. Your teammate pushed me into you. Mm-hmm. So like Grayson's not, he wasn't running up trying to get in a fight with DeRozan, who was clearly like only could think that the only possible outcome was that Grayson Allen came and purposely tried to run him over and push him to the ground.
So
it's like,
dumb.
Just like watch a replay. They're gonna show it on the Jumbotron. I would just look up for 10 seconds.
Right. Stupid.
I don't remember if there was anything else I was gonna say. Oh, like as far as like the Homer thing goes, like just rewind back 5 minutes where I just said that Giannis isn't perfect.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna get into the Homer conversation because
I mean, I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to be objective when it comes to our teams. Mm-hmm. We have some home team bias, obviously, because we prefer our teams to win and stuff like that, and we prefer to look at the ways that they can and will. Right. But I mean, we didn't pick the Packers to go 17-0. We didn't pick the Bucks to go 82-0, or the Brewers to go 162-0. Like, it's we're trying to be different than other sports shows that you could potentially watch.
And, we walk a really fine line because we do keep things a little bit more positive, a little bit more upbeat. And like you said, we look for ways that our teams can win. But the whole Homer argument, to me, that's when people run out of shit. It's just like when they correct your English or they, or they start name calling. I think the next tier under that is when people just call you a Homer because they have no way to dispute what you're saying. So
right.
That's what I think.
The only possible explanation could be that you're Homer. Yeah, yep. James said it's one of those things that we all have athletes that need to work on. When someone runs into us or follows us aggressively, we all think through narrow glasses and think it was intentional and dirty. Yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like Jake said, like tensions are high, stuff like that. Obviously, there's been stuff with Grayson Allen in the past, and people can still think that he injured Caruso on purpose, which I don't like. I don't know how you are in that situation and think he did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And then obviously Grayson Allen had a really good playoff series against the Bulls. So yeah.
That was just that's a sting. I won't lie. That would suck to live through. The guy you hate the most is just cashing threes on you. On your court, no
lighting you up for 25 in like 8 minutes.
Oof. It is game day.
It is game day. Yes.
Back-to-back game days. Love those.
Yeah. I like them because we get to watch them, but I don't like what it usually ends up meaning for the Bucks.
That's fair.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Bucks and the Timberwolves. What did you see that stood out from that?
Well, first of all, I want to point out something that Brad pointed out is rebounding, and holy crap, we hit the goddamn boards in this game. We rebounded them 68-36.
Couldn't get one more rebound?
I know, right? I forgot to mention in the Bulls game, we went 22 of 32, which is 69%. So
nice.
68 rebounds, 20 offensive rebounds.
Oh,
we almost had as many offensive rebounds as they had rebounds, dude. That's disgusting.
Oh,
we went 23 of 33 from the free throw line. So again, not horrible. You can definitely win with that. 50 points in the paint to 58 for the Timberwolves. And the thing that really stuck out to me that I'm like, and I know this is your thing, this has been your niche, 25 assists to 21 turnovers.
Yeah. The thing with the turnovers is thankfully it only led to 18 points off of turnovers, which isn't awful, but if you're under ideally around 15, that's a good place to be. 15 second chance points given up to Minnesota. So, obviously, you don't want to be allowing those offensive rebounds either. And then the Bucks missed 10 free throws for a total of 43 fundamental failure points. So, not great. But the first half altogether wasn't great. The Bucks are fast paced on offense, and this is gonna be something that really stands out to me, and I'm gonna bring this up again when I want to mention something the Bucks can improve on. They're fast paced on offense. They need to be fast paced on defense too. In transition specifically.
Yep. We were talking last night. We're texting, during the game like we always do, and I mentioned because we're watching both the Bucks and the Badgers, and I'm like, what defense is better in half court? Because when the Bucks are fully healthy, and you look at that defense, God, that has to be terrifying. You have to go through Drew Holiday.
Dude, when we talk about last night's game, I got some things I want to say about the Bucks.
I already know you do. But when you look at him in half court, like it's insane. And then you got the leading shot blocker behind you. You got Giannis and every one of his long limbs just coming at you from the weak side. You have, when Chris Middleton is right, he's tough to get past on the dribble. Also, his long arms in the passing lane, dribbling. I mean, the Bucks defense in half court is tough. But then you look at the Badgers and you're like, damn, man. And, me and you were talking, I'm like, bro, they're both elite. They're both fucking elite. So, it's tough, honestly. I don't know who I would take. But in terms of just this game, Giannis is just the fucking man. That's all I got for this game, for the rest of this game. Giannis is just the fucking man, dude.
So Bobby Portis came in and quickly started scoring. He had 4 points as soon as he came in. Scored 11 points in the first quarter. The Bucks had a really tough second quarter. A lot of shots were halfway down and coming out. Only scored 17 points in the second quarter. That's rough. Bucks were 3 of 22 from 3 in the first half. Yeah, they were 11 of 17 in the second half.
Yep.
That'll do. So get to the third quarter starts. The Bucks missed 2 shots and turned the ball over twice. That's how the third quarter starts, after only scoring 17 points in the second quarter. And it's like, oh, shit, this one might get away from the Bucks. And then Pat Connaughton drives and scores. Giannis hits a 3. Brook hits a deep 2. And then Giannis gets a dunk, and the Bucks go nuts. Joe Ingles comes in at the 6-minute mark while the Bucks are down 5. And this stood out to me, aside from the game, is Joe Ingles was coaching Giannis after he had a turnover in transition. So one of the things, we talk about turnovers, a lot of them have been happening in transition. You're trying to make a pass where you think a guy is going to go, or just trying to make, a flashy pass, or trying to make a fast pass, whatever the case may be. And it just ends up, sailing out of bounds or being too far ahead, or the ball just gets kind of fumbled. Joe Ingles, after one of Giannis's turnovers, was kind of doing one of those things where you look up and you're like, you made a mistake, or looking down kind of thing. And Joe Ingles right away went up to Giannis and was coaching him up. And then the Bucks called a timeout right after that. And Joe Ingles, out of that timeout, is talking and coaching up Bobby Portis, and he's pointing stuff out to him on the floor. And it's like, that's an underrated aspect of what Joe Ingles is bringing to this team. We didn't really talk about this a lot when we were talking about the addition of Joe Ingles. We knew he was going to be, a 3-point shooter and a facilitator and an underrated defender, but he's 35 years old. He's bringing a lot of veteran experience and know-how to the game. He's not overly athletic. He's not he's not Kyrie Irving dribbling the ball. He's not Steph Curry shooting the ball. He's a good 3-point shooter, but he's not going to make every single shot he shoots. But he also knows how to play the game. He said it himself. He's like, I don't have a 6-pack, but I'll still score on you.
He said, I'll whoop your ass, is what he said.
But he's not going to blow you away with anything, but he does everything so well and knows how to play the game of basketball, and is passing that on to guys like Giannis and Bobby. So that stood out to me from this game, watching that.
Giannis does have a 6-pack, so give him that 6-pack brain and he'll go crazy, bro.
Giannis has all of the visible muscles. It's still just looking at his shoulders is just insane.
Yeah, dude. When he was going like this yesterday, I was like, man, that guy is fucking chiseled as a motherfucker.
Yeah. He is the Greek freak.
Yeah.
So the Bucks won the third quarter, 39-22. That was huge, obviously, the turning point. Javon Carter blocked a shot off the backboard in this game. Javon Carter, 6'0" Javon Carter blocked a shot off the backboard.
Yeah. Hey, he's in the NBA, bro. He's in the NBA.
That was nuts, dude. Like, he's the defensive bulldog. We know that, but that was awesome to see him block a shot off the backboard. So I mentioned the Bucks were 11 of 17 on threes in the second half. They made 5 of 8 in the third quarter and 6 of 9 in the fourth quarter. That's just insane three-point shooting. Yes. So a couple things that I wanted to stick out, or I wanted to say that stuck out. First of all, second half scoring. The Bucks outscored the Timberwolves 73-53 in the second half. That'll do.
That'll do.
And then looking at 3 players, I'm looking at MarJon Beauchamp, Joe Ingles, and Grayson Allen. Now, first with Joe Ingles, he gave us a game that shows why to be patient with players that are injured. He had 14 points and 10 assists, and we're still not even halfway done with the season. So give the injured guys some time, and also give the guys who are reconditioning after being injured time. Like Jrue Holiday is a perfect example. He did not have a great game last night, but it was also his first game back after missing, 3 games, 4 games?
Yep.
3 games. 3 games because he didn't play in Chicago.
Yeah, you're right.
But I will say, Joe Ingles, he ran the pick and roll very well, which is one of the things we brought him here to do. Next, MarJon Beauchamp. I see it almost daily, people complaining about him not getting enough playing time. And I'm going to bring it up when we talk about the first Wizards game again. But for me, one thing I wanted to highlight from this game that stood out to me for something that MarJon can improve on is defending without fouling. It seems like as soon as he comes in, he usually draws a quick foul or two. He uses his hands defensively a little too much to try to keep guys from getting by him. So he's got to work on that lateral quickness a little bit and just defend without using his hands to grab and stuff, because that's where he's starting to draw a lot of those fouls. So that's something I wanted to put out there.
Yeah, I think once he gets a little better at his body positioning.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday is always in the right spot.
He's insane. Like, dude, watching him go over screens on defense.
Yeah,
it's fun to watch. It really is.
And it is. Watching Jrue Holiday on defense is literally an art, in my opinion. So, and I know that I went to the pinnacle and I went to the top. I don't care what James has to say. Jrue Holiday is the best defending guard in the NBA. He's really good at body positioning. So MarJon learning that on a daily basis is only going to mean good things for him.
Right.
And he's longer. So once he gets that part of his game down, the lateral quickness, like you said, and the body positioning, he's going to be a terrific defender. And once you're in the right position, that's when you can get a little handsy, in my opinion, because Jrue Holiday gets a ton of steals, just being in the right spot at the right time. I mean, we can go to the Badgers. You can look at Chucky Hepburn. Hepburn last night on that last play, he predicted where that guy was going to go. He put him in a tough spot. He beat him to that spot, and then that's how he got the steal. He was like, okay, you're going to go here. This is where the ball's going to be. Boom. Give me that shit, right? So the positioning is where MarJon's got to work, but his athletic ability is going to allow him to turn into a really, really good two-way player for us.
Absolutely. So that's just one thing, where I'll get into it when we talk about the next game. James said this is way off topic, but I think Wisconsin should somehow get an expansion MLS team so they can rival Minnesota and Chicago. Then I can also watch them lose to Nashville.
I don't know. They are. I think they are getting one.
Are they?
Yeah, I swear to God, I think I saw that on. I don't remember where I saw that, but I think
I don't pay attention to soccer.
I mean, I don't care, but I think I think in 2 years is what I saw. I think in 2 years they're going to have a MLS team. Hey, it just means more money for the city of Milwaukee, which is great. So
right.
Not that I'm going to watch them because I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, there is the Milwaukee Wave, but I have no idea what level they play on.
I watched the Milwaukee Wave one time as a kid, and a guy did the craziest throw-in of all time. He went on the ball. Yeah, dude. He went on the ball and flipped on his feet and threw it in all the way to the goal. And I was 9 years old. I was like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then after that, I didn't care about soccer.
Yeah. Well, nothing else happens after that.
True. Just a lot of running around.
Yeah. So the last player I wanted to talk about with this game is Grayson Allen. And I know he's getting a lot of heat from the Bucks fans. because he's had some rough shooting games. He's in a bit of a slump. He's still shooting 38% from three on this season.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's on a massive slump too. Still 38%, which is very respectable. 38%. Yeah.
So the thing that I would suggest, and obviously I'm not the coach, clearly, is like just maybe give him a couple of lower minute games. I think what might potentially be the case is that like maybe Grayson's feeling a lot of pressure to perform with Chris Middleton out. I don't know this, so I'm purely speculating on this, but I mean, it's just a thought. So I'm thinking maybe just a couple lower minute games to maybe kind of let him clear his head and realize like, hey, like I can get back into it and get back to doing what I do. So
agreed.
Is there anything else you want to say about the Timberwolves game?
Nope. Well, outside of that, it started a trend for Wisconsin this weekend, but everybody saw the post.
We'll conclude that with the Badgers. I have that written down from last night's game.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's talk about the first Wizards game. No Giannis, no Drew, no Chris, no George Hill. The Bucks, for some reason, always struggle with Daniel Gafford. But what stood out to you from this game?
I don't really have much on this game, to be honest with you. Not a lot of notable stuff. The Wizards really controlled the pace of this game. They controlled this game, pretty much it felt like the entire time. The Wizards ended with 29 assists, which is a ton. They had 18 turnovers still. The Bucks had 22 assists and 16 turnovers. So us being almost 1 of 1 is bad news for us. We shot 34 of 96, 35% from the field. So when you look at that, like, even if you didn't watch the game and you just look at the box score, if you're one of those people, you just look at the box score and you see 34 and 96, and then you go to the other side and you see 50 of 94, you're like, this is an old-fashioned ass whooping, right?
Points in the paint is definitely part of that.
Yeah, that was my next thing, actually. 26 points in the paint to 72 points in the paint. That's uncalled for. I'll just say what it is. That is uncalled for, but I didn't put too much stock into it because of a lot of our players being out. It was kind of like, and we talk about it, even before the season started. We knew these type of games were going to happen.
Right.
We know that we're going to have games where all of them are out. Now, we don't like that, Drew and Chris were missing because of injury and illness, but it is what it is. It's going to happen. They're going to give those guys rest. There's going to be games where Bobby and Brooke probably don't play, and we're going to be seeing a lot of Mamu. Mamu's going to play 35 minutes. And you know what? It might end up in an L. It happens. I mean, we got our ass whooped by the Wizards with nobody playing. The Celtics got their ass whooped by the Thunder, and their best player wasn't playing last night. So it's the NBA, man. If you shoot well, you're going to win the game. The Wizards shot well. The Bucks did not shoot well. That's all I got.
So to me, you mentioned the paint points. To me, the paint defense for the Bucks took a hit without Giannis playing. Like that's a factor. Like not to say that Bobby's a bad defender. He's not a plus defender, but he plays with a lot of intensity and a lot of energy. So he's got that. But he's not going to be out there blocking 2.5 shots a game like Brooke is. And Brooke can only defend one person at a time. But it is what it is. Like you said, there's going to be games like this, and I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on it. But
no,
we spent, a large part of the season with Bucks fans complaining that Marjon Beauchamp doesn't play enough. Look at Johnny Davis. We didn't get to see Johnny Davis in either one of these games. And he's on a worse team, was a higher pick, and is still playing fewer minutes. He's actually on a G League assignment right now. And, you got to be patient with rookies as they acclimate. And especially in a culture like the Bucks, who have a culture of high standards now.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be patient with these rookies. And Marjon is still playing on average 15 minutes a game.
That's
almost exactly. Last I checked, he was at like 15 minutes and 2 seconds per game on average. So playing almost exactly 15 minutes a game. And Johnny Davis, who was the 10th overall pick, is playing like 7 to 9 in most of the games that he plays. A worse team that had no reason not to just play the shit out of him because he's young and going to need time in the NBA to get better.
And figure out what you got, right?
Right. So, you just got to be a little bit patient.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say, oh, yeah, he should be a DNP for 5 games until he, does what he needs to do. But for him playing 15 minutes a game, to me, that's the perfect amount of time.
I agree.
All right. That was what stood out to me from that. That's pretty much all I got from that one as well. So, yeah, Bill, that's true. The average fan wants or expects instant gratifications from first round picks. And it's not like he was the 4th overall pick. He was the 24th overall pick.
True.
So, yeah.
And in the NBA, the NBA draft is so much different than the NFL draft, and people kind of treat it the same. Like, once you get through the first, I'll be nice. I'll say the first 7 picks, maybe 5 to 7 picks. Those are your elite players. Those are the players that knew they were going to the NBA and they're going to get drafted top 5 or top 10.
And they're going to be starters.
Right. Once you get down the line, you're really drafting for potential.
Right.
You're drafting okay, this guy, this measurement is this, he runs this, he jumps
team
this.
Needs and stuff like that.
Right.
That's the Bucks need a wing defender who can shoot a little bit, and they drafted a guy who can defend and who can shoot a little bit.
And you know what?
A little bit raw, but
in 2 years when he's freaking crossing people over and throwing lobs to Giannis, and everybody will settle down.
Shooting 38% on threes and defending an elite level.
They better pray that doesn't happen, bro. They better pray that doesn't happen.
No, they'll be like, I told you 2 years ago he should have been playing this much.
Yeah. Shut up. He wasn't ready back then.
Give guys time to develop. It's not all going to happen at once. Like, MarJon isn't all of a sudden going to starting over Grayson Allen just because Grayson Allen is slumping. People got to get that through their heads. That's something that really's got to get through.
Shit, man. We live in a state where Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years, bro. As great as Aaron Rodgers is, people like to just gloss over that, man. He was not ready his rookie year. He was raw.
That's what I brought up with the Celtics game, is that MarJon's not ready for Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
No.
Bill said students of the game understand how important develop is and letting these rookies get confident. That's exactly what it is. And I said that with the Boston Celtics game. I'm like, MarJon is not ready for this game. He's not ready for Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He's not
in Boston.
Not ready for that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah, in Boston
on Christmas. Yeah. Come on, man.
And what I said was, I'm like, that's potentially going to damage his confidence. And somebody's like, "Oh, getting a DNP every meaningful game is just as damaging to his confidence." And I'm like, he played against Memphis. He played it the last 5 games in a row. He had played 15 or more minutes, and then it was, garbage time doesn't count. And it's he's not playing in garbage time. He checked in the first quarter in 3 of the 5 and started in the other 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting minutes. Just be patient is what I'm just going to keep saying. The Bucks play the Celtics again. I believe it's on Valentine's Day. We're about a month over. We're about a little over a month away from that. That's where you might see MarJon play a little more against the Celtics, and maybe he'll get a crack at Tatum and Brown after 25 more games of experience in between there. Maybe not 25. That's probably more like 20, but you know what I mean. You're looking at a month and a half in between games.
Dude, that's a massive day for us because we get the Celtics and the Badgers play Michigan.
God, I can't wait to smack the hell out of Michigan.
Oh, I hope Hunter Dickinson gets blocked 7 times. Fuck you, dude.
I hope he slips on a bag. Full of scum.
A bag.
James said basically Milwaukee's getting a minor league soccer team.
Yeah, well. That's what I think MLS stands for, minor league soccer.
Well, they already got a minor league hockey team here, so. All right, let's talk about the second Wizards game. Let's talk about last night. Last night was crazy. It was pretty much all Giannis, but let's talk about last night's game. What stood out from that game to you?
Yeah, man. Fucking double nickel for the mayor of Milwaukee. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's about to own the entire state of Wisconsin pretty soon. Him alone has almost as much pulling power as the Green Bay Packers. I honestly believe that. Him by himself, his brand alone, because you hear Giannis, because he's got his name in the Brewers a little bit. I think him alone, because him without the Bucks, his brand alone could almost pull as much as the Packers, I think. I mean, if you go globally as well. But
I don't know. The Packers do pretty well globally. We've literally had people comment on our show from Costa Rica and England. Where else have we had people comment on from? Brazil, we've had people comment from.
I know we had that one.
Ireland.
We had that
Ireland
one.
once.
We had that one Greece dude commenting about the Bucks though. So
we had the guy from Greece commenting from the Bucks.
I mean, maybe not, but I would like for it to happen because Giannis deserves it, in my opinion. But yeah, outside of him, first of all, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I wish he would have dunked on Gafford.
Dude, he was so close. The ball hit two sides of the rim and bounced out. That's such bullshit. That should have gone in.
I wish he would have finished that dunk.
Insane.
But outside of that, I mean, James, Kobe and LeBron are worldwide too, and they're just individual brands. So that's kind of where I'm going with my argument, where Giannis can be worldwide as well because he literally is from two different countries and he plays in America. So I mean, it's pretty worldwide.
He'll get there. I just don't think he's got as much pull as the Green Bay Packers yet. Like if you put Giannis next to the Jacksonville Jaguars, different story.
That's
but
fair.
We're talking about the Green Bay Packers here.
That's fair. But outside of Giannis, I want to give a shout out to our man Brook Lopez. Had a really, really good game. He had a couple just tip out rebounds, one that fell right into Bobby's hands and went for a layup right away, and then one that got tipped out to a guard and right back into Giannis's hands and went for a bucket. And I was just like, I want to remember that shit, when we're talking about this tomorrow. And then obviously Bobby with the double-double. We already touched on that.
Yep.
Excuse me, but the man of the hour is Giannis. Whatever the hell he wanted to get, he was getting last night. He was just in one of those grooves. James, I'll be honest, man. At this point, we're not even to the midway point, and I'm getting ahead of myself. But if Brook Lopez doesn't win the goddamn Defensive Player of the Year this year, I'm gonna be really fucking disappointed.
If he plays a whole season and is continually averaging like 2.5, 2.6, 2.8 blocks per game, and like you look at the contested shots too, like I didn't pull the stats on that. Like, let me see if I can find it real quick.
I'm going to respond to Bill's comment. Yeah, Bill, that's 100%, man. And the one thing that I'll add to your comment is that is what superstars do. They see the chatter. They see everything that's happening. Oh, the sky is falling. He said, get on my back. I'll carry us to victory tonight. So that is what superstars do in the brightest lights. And that is the definition of a superstar, in my opinion. On the road or at home, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the opponent either. Your team is slipping and falling, injuries, everything. You got to carry.
Let's see.
Tyler's looking for a stat here.
Trying to find where it is.
What stat are you looking up?
I'm trying to find contested shots.
Oh, shit. I think I had that up. I think I just deleted that thing. I had that page open for a while.
I might have found it. There it is. Contested. Oh, dude. Bruh. This is just absolutely insanely ridiculous. This is just wrong.
Well, we're about to give you some advanced stats here, James.
Yeah. So listen to this. This is contested 2-pointers. This is contested 2-point shots. This is totals. I'm going to give you the top 3.
All right,
Number 3 is actually a Washington Wizards player. It's Kristaps Porzingis. He's contested 313 2-point shots.
Okay, 313. Okay.
Number 2, Ivica Zubac has contested 375 2-point shots.
Okay, 60 more. Oh, boy.
Brook Lopez has contested 543 2-point shots.
Whoa. Whoa.
543. He has 168 more contested shots than the next guy on the list.
Holy shit. And I remember, man, this might even just been a couple weeks ago. Zubac was pretty close on that list, actually.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah, wow.
So this is yeah, Bill's like so here, this is contested shot totals. So this is all shots. Nick Claxton is third with 411. Ivica Zubac is second with 467. Brook Lopez is first in contested shots in the NBA with 606. We aren't even halfway through the season, and Brook Lopez has contested 600 shots. Contested shots, I believe. I'll just look up the definition. As I understand it, it could be a shot that goes in. It's just a shot that you were within. I think it's within 2 feet. It might be 3.
I'm gonna say it's probably a shot under like high distress. You know, like you're in his face. It's almost like that tight window stat in football. You know,
exactly, and it's like that. The definition that NBA stats, NBA.com stats gives is the number of times a defensive player or team closes out and raises a hand to contest a shot prior to its release. So it's probably within, my guess would probably be within 3 feet.
Yeah, there's got to be a metric for it. So
right.
That's still
but bringing up the 2-pointers is insane because you know that 99% of those are at the rim.
And the craziest part, and like James, I know you don't watch a lot of Bucks, but whenever they do interviews with players like like Drew or Giannis or even like Grayson Allen, anybody, they always say they funnel the ball to Brook because they know that he's got their back. So that doesn't sound like the player of the year. I don't know, man. You
hear things like you got Brook back there. Like they say stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, they're like, I can press up because I know if he gets past me, Brook's got my back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First of all, that's just a great teammate. That's a great team. And like I said, if that doesn't sound like defensive player of the year with the stats he's putting up, I'm out. I got nothing.
So you mentioned the man of the hour being Giannis. Did you know, like he had his 55 points. Did you know he started 10 for 10 at the free throw line?
Yep, I saw that.
And he finished 15 of 16 on free throws.
Dude, if I'm telling you, bro, if he shot 75%, he'd average 40. I firmly believe that. If he shot 75% from the free throw line, he would average 40.
Bill said you see Brook contesting shots everywhere from the basket all the way out to the elbow. It shouldn't surprise us. It doesn't surprise us.
Right.
But putting it in that perspective as a league-wide, when we make a claim like Brook Lopez should be a front runner for the defensive player of the year, and giving the context of who is, in the running and where some of the rankings are for some of the things that he's doing that qualify him, and seeing how big that gap is just insane.
Yeah, I think putting a number value on it kind of opens your eyes
a little more real.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
I might have to make a graphic for that after tonight's game.
Yeah, that's insane.
I did want to bring this up as well. Over the last 3 games, Giannis is 40 of 54 on free throws. That doesn't sound amazing, but that's 74%. So you just said 75. So he's at 74 of the last 3 games.
Let's go.
He was 20 of 30 on 2-pointers last night. So he had that. And one of the other things that stood out to me was like he gets points 52 or he gets 53 at the free throw line. He gets 53. And then he digs in on Porzingis on defense on the next possession. Like he is fully engaged in defending Kristaps Porzingis. Then he pokes the ball away, gets the steal, drives down, goes in between 2 people, and gets a layup to give himself 55.
I wish that little guard would have moved out of the way. Like, dude, you lost. Just let us have a moment real quick, bro. Like, he just missed the dunk. Like, just let him dunk it for 55. I mean, it was still cool, but that would the place would have fucking erupted if he was able to throw that down.
Yeah, yeah. And if that would have broken his career high, and then if he would have still scored everything else the way he did, he would have tied Michael Redd's franchise record of 57.
I know. I was like,
I'm kind of okay with the record standing. I'm not gonna lie. I love Michael Redd, so I'm gonna let him have this one.
No, I still rock my Mike Redd jersey, bro. No shame at all. I still rock the Mike Redd, but yeah.
We should try to get Michael Redd on the show. He'd be fun to talk to.
He seems like he's
Michael Redd.
You know how Giannis had that interview and he said that he wants to disappear when he's done with basketball?
Yeah.
It almost seems like Michael Redd's kind of done that.
I've seen him at a few games. Not a lot, but I've seen him at a couple.
He just
seems him and Brandon Jennings too. I've seen Brandon Jennings at a couple games. He pops up here and there.
Jennings is awesome on Twitter, by the way. If you don't follow him, you could feel his energy that we always knew him for through his Twitter.
He still loves the Bucks, which is cool.
Yes, sir. I actually just got a dope photo of him from somebody's post, dude. I want to show you now. Where is it? Right here. On his 55-point night, bro. Lit. PJ.
That was rookie Brandon Jennings.
Bro, look at him. He's talking heavy.
Curry that he did that.
Yeah, that was when Curry had the little baby elephant ankles, though. You know, he couldn't stand up, man. He couldn't, bro. He was rolling his ankle every other game.
That's funny. Okay. So, other things from last night's games. Is there anything else you wanted to say? I have one last thing that I want to close with.
No, I got nothing. Close it up.
Okay. So I'm going to close it out with the Bucks closing lineup. Yeah, it's only a matter of time until Giannis gets 60 for sure.
Hopefully 69.
Dude, that'd be hilarious.
It would be like impressive, but also hilarious. So I agree.
Yes. Like we'd be like laughing because it was awesome to watch, and then we'd also be like giggling at the same time.
He scored his 69th point last night, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know.
Tuning into Wisco Fanatics for the important things. Yeah, Justin popped in right at the exact time that he needed to. Just in time to hear his 69 joke. All right. We got to get David Bakhtiari on the show, too. Fuck.
Oh, God. He would love all the 69 jokes. I know he would appreciate them. I know he would.
Man, if I had like 2 weeks off of work and I could just watch all of our shows from the past year and just clip out all of our 69 jokes, that'd be a hilarious highlight reel to watch.
That video would be probably 5 minutes long. We make a lot of 69 jokes.
That's for sure true. Okay, I want to close this game out by closing with the Bucks closing lineup. It was Drew Holiday, Grayson Allen, Giannis at small forward, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez. That is a massive lineup.
Yes.
And it's a very good defensive lineup, actually, because Drew Holiday is obviously Drew Holiday. He's been first team all defense a bunch of times. Grayson Allen has a 105.5 defensive rating, which is actually pretty good. Like, people are like, oh, he sucks on defense. He does that. Like, just all you got to do is look it up. He's actually got a pretty respectable defensive rating. Like 105 is pretty decent. Then you get to Giannis, who's obviously got a Defensive Player of the Year award. You got Bobby Portis, who defends with energy. And Brook Lopez, who we obviously have just talked about.
Yes. Now,
picture that lineup, but instead of Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
But a lineup is huge.
And the offensive ability of that lineup goes through
you lose
roof.
Nothing on either end of the floor.
I think you gain on both ends.
That's huge lineup. Good luck trying to defend that lineup if you're any team but the Orlando Magic. I really don't think there's any other team that has that amount of size.
Well, and even if you bring up that argument of matching the size, I don't know any other lineup that can match that size and skill.
Right. And I'm starting with just one or the other.
Right.
I would maybe say Dallas. Like, I think Dallas, if they ran with Powell, Christian Wood, and JaVale McGee, like, they could maybe get close to that size. But obviously, like, when you're talking skill, like, if you're talking Dwight Powell, Christian Wood, and JaVale McGee versus Giannis, Bobby Portis, and Brook Lopez, like,
that just sounds like Bobby and Brook are going to be wide open for three. That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, Giannis owns Christian Wood on offense, and Brook owns Christian Wood on defense.
Yep.
So, that's, something to think about, I guess. But that size is just insane.
Yes.
On Brook Lopez, he had 21 points, 12 rebounds at his second highest total of the season, and 6 blocks, shooting 10 of 13 on field goals.
Monster.
That's crazy efficient. And then Bobby Portis scored 17 points, had 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 0 turnovers.
Yep.
On 7 of 13 shooting. So it's still above 50%. And like we said, his 4th double-double, his 22nd double-double of the season.
Yeah. Monster. Bucks are good, man.
So real quick, is there anything else you want to say the Bucks can improve on? There's a couple things that I just wanted to touch on really quick, but.
Well, obviously, we're both going to say turnovers because turnovers are just no. I hate turnovers. And other than that, no, I think turnovers is really the only thing because I can't really get into other stuff because we're not fully healthy. So I'm gonna give some leeway.
The other thing that I would bring up aside from the turnovers is transition defense.
Yeah.
that's something, regardless of who's healthy, that the Bucks need to do. They need to be better at defending in transition. On the turnovers, I'm going to say what I said to you last night while we were talking during the game is I want to see the Bucks pass with purpose.
Yes.
It seems like the Bucks are making kind of this like lazy passes where they're like, expecting the pass to go to whoever they're trying to pass to. And they're getting a lot of balls that are getting deflected. Or like I said, the transition turnovers, which, it's when you're moving at the speed you are and trying to guess where the guy is going to be, not where he is, that's tough. So, like, I understand that a little bit, but the ones where you're in the half-court offense and you're just making, like, lazy passes and they get tipped and stolen, those are the ones you got to clean up, like just making those passes. So I want to see the Bucks pass with purpose is the other thing that I would say to improve.
I agree.
All right, so looking at what's next, the Bucks play tonight in Toronto. So second of a back-to-back, and they're traveling from Milwaukee to Toronto. It's not a super long travel, but it's still travel after playing a game last night. So it's no Drew Holiday, no Joe Ingles, no Chris Middleton, no George Hill. Giannis is probable. Like, he actually wasn't listed on the injury report. I shouldn't say probable. He just wasn't listed, but Giannis is expected to play. So that's that. Brittany says hello.
Hello.
Then they play at home against Charlotte on Friday. Kelly Oubre was just diagnosed with he has a sprain of some sort. So he's going to be out the next 4 to 6 weeks. And then they play Monday at the New York Knicks. I'm surprised that game's on ESPN. It's not on ESPN because of how much ESPN loves to jerk off the Knicks, but that's neither here nor there.
And the Lakers, they both suck ass. Like, stop. You could show like cool, exciting teams. Like,
I would hands down rather watch the Jazz play the Cavaliers than to watch the Lakers play the Knicks.
But it's like the Knicks will be playing the Knicks should be playing the fucking Magic, and I'd rather watch the Magic right now, honestly. The Knicks should be playing the Magic, and they're like, throw it on ESPN. It's New York. Make
it the nightcap. Don't even make it the first.
Yeah,
game.
Like fuck you, you bastards.
It'll be like Suns and Nuggets, and then it'll be like the Knicks and the Magic. It's like, okay, cool. So we're gonna get you really excited. We're gonna have a fun game, and then we're gonna put you to sleep.
Yeah, great, thanks. Appreciate it.
Cool. So, yeah, the Lakers will never not get attention, and yes, with LeBron being there too, that's obviously going to be it. And obviously, there's going to be so many eyes on LeBron until he retires, just because he's getting to that age now.
And he's gonna break the scoring thing pretty soon.
Yeah. With those 3 games, I'm going to say the Bucks go 3-0. Tonight's probably going to be the toughest one because they're playing in Toronto without Drew, Chris, George Hill, and Joe Ingles. I still think it's a winnable game for the Bucks. Hopefully Brook Lopez can have another big night. Maybe he'll drop 30 again. That'd be sweet. And then Giannis I want to see him get that 40 and 10. If he can do that, he'll be the first player to do it 4 times in a row ever.
I'm going to say 2-1. I think they're going to lose tonight. I don't want to say that on camera, but I did. But I think they'll be 2-1. I think tonight we'll have some fatigue late in the game.
Yeah. Nick Nurse has Giannis's number a little bit too.
We have travel. It's an earlier tip than we're used to. So, right. I mean, a lot of factors. I mean, they could win. Who knows?
It's understandable. I understand.
I don't like picking my team to lose, but sometimes
I know. I understand. Well, I mean, we'll get into it with the Badgers. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you got the Badgers power pair. I have the underrated performer. Give me the Badgers power pair.
So the first one is Steven Crowell. This one's pretty obvious. Big Steve had a big week this week. He ended up going 17 to 26 on field goals. That is 65%. 4 of 7 from downtown. That is 57%. Sorry, excuse me. And he averaged 21 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. So, I mean, the man was everywhere doing everything, being the big man that we needed. We'll get into the Minnesota game, but he had some really, really key plays that won't go in the box score, in my opinion. And then my next one is Chucky Hepburn. He went 9 of 18, so that's 50%. Pretty easy math. And then 6 of 8, that's 3 out of 4, that's 75%. He averaged 13.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and he had 5 steals on the week, all of them in one game. And that does go in the box score. So Hepburn and Crowell were really, really good this week. Badgers are just climbing up that top 25, man. Just slowly, we're still here.
Yeah. Just look at me, notice me, stare at me.
And now with Purdue losing, the Badgers are on top by themselves in the Big Ten.
This is their first 3-0 start since the 2014-2015 season.
And we all know.
It went pretty well.
And it goes all the way back to Grayson Allen, who was on that Duke team, by the way.
Yeah.
So it full circle. We're like comedians now. We just told the story and it went full circle. So I love it.
Yeah, comedy's awesome based on past experience. All right. For an underrated performer, I went with Jordan Davis. Greg Gard talked about him before yesterday's game about the consistency that he's brought. And I think that that's fair to continue bringing up because of his contributions on both ends. He scored 9 points against Western Michigan, and he scored 7 points last night against Minnesota. And he's 6 of 12 on the week, and he also grabbed 8 rebounds last night. So last night he had 7 points and 8 rebounds for a guard.
He grabbed a couple big boy rebounds. I won't lie.
Like a little bit like his brother as far as rebounding goes. Mm-hmm. Like we talked like all last season about how Johnny Davis was an underrated rebounder because he was like second in the Big Ten in rebounds per game. Mm-hmm. But for Jordan Davis to go grab 8 rebounds in a game, like don't let that go unnoticed.
I mean, I'll talk about when we talk about Minnesota, but as many rebounds as we grabbed, and he had a lot of them, pretty important.
Yeah. So let's start with the Western Michigan game from Friday. I had to watch a replay of this game because I couldn't watch it live because it was on Big Ten Plus. But yeah, what stood out to you from that game?
You know, me and you talked about it before this game. We expected some rust.
Yeah.
I didn't see much, in my opinion. It felt like
I did. Like they started out, and I'm like, "Oh, cool, no rust," and then it was like, "Oh, there it is."
Yeah, I mean, they hit a wall, but I feel like that's normal. I feel like they do that in every game. That's kind of where I'm getting at. Because against Minnesota, both teams started the game, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Minnesota started 1 for 8, and we started 1 for 7. I'm sure Bill's going to have the correct stat because Bill's like the smartest guy. Every time we watch the show, I feel like he's smarter than me. But
hear that, Bill? Send in an application. I'll replace Jake with you.
Come on, Bill. But I mean, we shot the ball pretty well. And the thing about this Badgers team, and people are really starting to notice, and they say it on Big Ten Network all the time, that this is a good 3-point shooting team. And if they clean up the free throws, this team can be so good. Untapped potential from the free throw line, in my opinion. And I do think that they can get better at rebounding because they got out-rebounded in this game 28-32. You can't get out-rebounded by Western Michigan. That's just uncalled for. But the 16 assists to the 4 turnovers, it's a decent ratio. This Badgers team doesn't have a lot of playmakers, in my opinion. It really just falls on Chucky and a little bit on Tyler Wall when he gets cooking. But other than that, we don't really have a lot of playmakers on this team. So 16 assists to 4 turnovers is a pretty good ratio. Where they had 12 assists to 7 turnovers, which is not as good of a ratio. But 28-54 overall is a good shooting percentage. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. And I'm kind of like, man, I didn't see that much rust. Although, they always hit a wall offensively. That's kind of a staple in Wisconsin basketball. We're going to go on a drought.
Have like a 6-minute drought where they don't make
super annoying. Super annoying. And that's why we talk about the 2015 team so much because it feels like they were such a well-oiled machine. Obviously, the player of the year helps out with that. Frank Kaminsky was awesome that year, and having a Sam Decker as your 1B to your 1A, obviously you're not going to have as many droughts. But this Badger team doesn't have that, but I'll tell you what they do have. A lot of fucking mental toughness.
Yeah.
So 76-66. Yeah. And I've talked about defense so much. Defense is all about heart, man. So if you have heart and you're willing to try to go out there and try to stop somebody, you can be a Wisconsin Badger.
Yeah.
I mean, basically just make yourself 6'4", be able to shoot some threes and be from like Brown Deer, Wisconsin or something like that and to sign you up, baby.
So the Badgers started off, they were up 10-0 and they cooled off. And then you mentioned that they won 76-66. Western Michigan finished this game on a 14-7 run, made this game look a little bit closer than it actually was. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Stephen Crowell, but not his career high 25 points in this game.
Yep.
What I noticed from Stephen Crowell, and I noticed it more so in the second half, was that he basically became like the safety valve for the entire team. Like guys on driving kicks, like posting up. He made a 3 late in the shot clock at one point. he really became like the safety valve to everybody and was still getting his regular paint touches that he gets every game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just started making all of his shots. He 25 points on 9 of 13 shooting, 3 of 5 on threes, and 4 of 5 from the free throw line. And then also added 8 rebounds. So 25 and 8, that's a fantastic stat line from Stephen Crowell. That's the Stephen Crowell, like even exceeding expectations from where I was at the beginning of the year, where I was like, hey, this guy could be second team all Big Ten with Tyler Wall and Chucky Hepburn. Mm-hmm. That's the glimpses of what I want to see from Stephen Crowell. And then Chucky Hepburn had 11, 5, and 5. Connor Sejan scored 8 points. I want to give credit to Carter Gilmore in this game. Now, I'm going to read you his stat line, and then I want to say something about it. 3 points, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal. Both of his rebounds were offensive rebounds. Now, this stat line isn't crazy, and it's not going to jump off the page to anybody because we're so used to seeing some of the crazy stat lines that are being put up in the NBA, obviously by guys who are on our own favorite NBA team. You know, we're seeing the 55, 10, and 7s. Seeing 3, 3, 2, and 1 isn't crazy, but you look at this is college basketball. These things do actually matter. Mm-hmm. These guys, like the guys that will come in and give you these little boosts in all of these aspects, like that's kind of the definition of the underrated performer. So if I had to pick per game, like Carter Gilmore could have been an underrated performer for this game because he brings aspects of the game that don't get noticed as much because they're not 25 points or 10 assists or however many steals, but he's giving you some of these, some of those, some of that, no turnovers. Like, I just want to give him some love for that because it's not going to be something super noticed because it doesn't jump off the page.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say about Western Michigan?
No, but I'm going to talk about Carter Gilmore when we talk about Minnesota.
All right, let's do it. So the Badgers beat Minnesota last night. They completed the sweep going back to last Friday. So the Wisconsin-Minnesota sweep. The Bucks beat the Timberwolves on Friday. The Packers beat the Vikings on Sunday. And the Badgers beat the Golden Gophers last night. A 3-0 sweep from Wisconsin to Minnesota over the last 4 days. So let's talk about
WWW. Man, that feels so good because Minnesota, I feel like, runs their mouth just for no fucking reason all the time, dude. And it's so annoying. Yeah. It's like,
they're
dude,
like Chicago fans without having won anything.
Seriously, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have no reason to talk. Like, your teams literally win shit. The Timberwolves barely stayed there.
Chicago has stuff. It's just all old, but like they still have some at least.
That's fair. I respect that. The thing I wanted to talk about in this game is we lost one of our key players right away, right?
Very early.
So when Carter Gilmore comes in and he knows that he has to play a bigger role, and this is where I said I was going to talk about Crowell as well. I think both of them, because Minnesota tried to flash big men to the middle of the paint all the time when they were just rotating the ball to the other side of the court. Yep. I think that the Badgers and Minnesota did miss some opportunities if you rewatch the game. The Badgers bigs did a fantastic job being physical down low.
Let me throw Marcus Silver into that conversation as well, but continue.
Yeah, yep. But Gilmore, man, the effort that he was displaying on denials on defense and running the floor on offense, I was like, holy crap, man. The growth of this kid over the last couple of weeks has been astounding. A guy where it looked like the lights were a little bright for him. Now he looks like he's like, put me in. Coach, you gonna put me in? You gonna put me in, coach? Coach, you gonna put me in? Is it my time to go in, coach? Like, I'm excited for Carter Gilmore, man. He got a haircut and he looks faster than hell.
Greg Gard talked about him potentially being the most improved player in the offseason. So it's cool to see that kind of coming to fruition for him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I want to say, you're talking about players owning players, and we talked about the Bucks. Klesmit owns Battle. He was fucking him up last night, dude. He was so uncomfortable shooting the ball.
Yeah.
And
if he could even get a shot off.
What the hell is Battle's first name? I forgot his name.
Jameson.
Jameson Battle. I remember talking last year about Minnesota, and I remember doing my research on Battle, and I was like, man, this guy's pretty good. He's a smooth lefty. He can score from everywhere. You can put it on the floor a little bit. Oh, Max Klesman said, yeah, fuck all that. Throw that out the window. He was clamping him, bro. I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh. I would hate, like, Klesman's the guy that I would hate to, like, walk into the gym and, like, play against because he was like, dude, can you just, like, stop touching me for, like, 5 seconds? Like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, I hate you. He's the kind of person that you fight because you don't like him. And we don't condone fighting. But I'm just saying that's the kind of people that you want to fight because
he's the guy you push because you're frustrated because he's defending you so well.
Yeah, and he pisses you off, man. And it's just like, God damn it, man. I can't imagine what Battle was feeling last night as he's clanking all these shots. He's the offense on that team. Minnesota's horrible.
Yeah. Seeing it in like the late stages of the game where like Battle's trying to drive past Klesman and he can't even get inside the 3-point line because every time he takes 2 steps, like Klesman is there like rebuffing him.
Yeah.
And he tries like 3 different times and then he like does like a half spin and switches the dribble and he tries to go to the other hand and he can't get by him that way. So then he tries to cross over and go back the other way and he still can't get past him. And then the ball gets swung over. I don't remember what the other player that Chucky was guarding, but it gets swung over to him and Chucky Hepburn is doing the same thing to that guy. And they end up shooting a 3 like 2 feet behind the line that doesn't even touch the rim.
How annoying is that, dude? They have to deal with those two for 40 minutes.
Tough, dude.
Yeah, man. Klesman is he's him on defense. I'll say that. And I agree. I 100% agree with your comment. If you added Connor and Klesman together, that guy's good.
That'd be nasty.
Yeah.
That dude would get drafted.
100%.
So Tyler Wall rolled his ankle early in this game. I think it was like 9 minutes in, if that. Mm-hmm. And he didn't come back. We talked about Marcus Silver and Carter Gilmore filling in. I want to say everyone on the Badgers kept active hands. Like Steven Crowell got a couple steals. Connor Sejan had a couple steals. Chucky Hepburn had 5 steals. The Badgers had 13 steals in this game.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of steals. That's crazy amount of steals for the Badgers to have 13 in one game. And then the other thing I want to say is the Badgers made this game tieable for Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think it was anything that Minnesota did, especially when you're talking about free throws. Like Steven Crowell gets a 1-and-1 and misses the first one. And Minnesota has a chance to drive the ball up with like 7 or 8 seconds left and shoot a 3 that could have potentially tied the game. But then you talk about like Chucky Hepburn defending and knowing where his defensive matchup is going to go. And he gives him the lane to drive towards the sideline, watches him go by, and then just picks his pocket.
Mm-hmm. Like, thank you.
That's the defensive savvy of Chucky Hepburn. I said right after that, I'm like, Steven Crowell owes Chucky Hepburn a beer for bailing him out.
Should we say what Mike said?
No, we probably shouldn't.
Hashtag getting canceled in 23.
Yeah, great. That would be a great way to start the year. What stood out to me from that, that whole like sequence, and to me, it's that the Badgers were missing their closer.
Yeah.
I like Chucky Hepburn has closed for the Badgers, and like he still kind of closed this game out defensively. But when we're talking about who the Bucks, damn it, I'm wearing a Bucks sweatshirt, so every time I see that, I keep saying Bucks. The Badgers like are late game situations. Like they don't go to Chucky Hepburn every single time. Like they do sometimes, and they do when the shot clock gets late and they need a guy that can create their own shot. But the Badgers closer is Tyler Wall, in my opinion. You look at some of the things that he's done this season, like especially that Kansas game, still stands out to me that he scored like their last 14 points in the second half in overtime. The Badgers to me were missing their closer in this game. He's the guy, he doesn't get rattled by anything at all, regardless of the opponent, regardless of the stage. So to me, that stood out as the Badgers were missing their closer, and I think that's part of, if not a major reason of why this game ended up being so close late in the game.
I agree.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say about this game?
No, I think the Badgers they got some good games coming up pretty soon here, but yeah, we're gonna find out some more about them pretty soon.
So Chucky Hepburn finished with 16 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, and the 5 steals. Stephen Crowell had 17 more points on 8 of 13 shooting. So Stephen Crowell in the last 2 games is 17 of 26 from the field.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So Badgers have 2 games between now and next Wednesday. They're at Illinois on Saturday. That's going to be a tough game. And then they're at home on Tuesday against Michigan State. I had the Badgers going 1-1. You said it's tough predicting one of your teams to lose, but Saturday against Illinois at Illinois is a tough one for the Badgers, and I have that one as a loss for the Badgers. But what are you thinking for those 2 games?
I'm going to blow your mind here. If they're going to lose a game, it's going to be Michigan State. Michigan State's playing really good basketball right now. They still have a very good coach. Yep. I think the Badgers are going to be ready and mentally prepared to go down to Illinois and get a win. And I think they might have a slip-up against Michigan State because, like I said, Michigan State's playing really, really good basketball right now. They're scoring heavy, and they're, like I said, Tom Izzo, man. I just respect Tom Izzo so much.
I do too.
So before we end this, I got to ask you, did you see that Kansas State and Texas score?
I did not.
Regulation college basketball, it was 116 to 103.
What the?
Kansas State went in, and Texas was like number 6 or whatever.
Yeah, I knew they were blowing Texas out.
They went into Texas and scored 116 on them, bro.
Jeez.
I was like, whoa. They had to make up for that embarrassing game they had against Alabama.
I'm trying to find last year's Michigan State game.
It's true. Let me see. Badgers versus Michigan State, huh? Badgers versus Michigan State.
That's the
basketball.
That's the Big Ten tournament one.
Okay, that's
because you brought up the scoring, and I wanted to bring up last season's, and I get that looking at different seasons is a different situation, because obviously the players are different. But I remember the scoring being something like that.
So here I got one right here. This is from last season. This is from January 21st, 2022. They played in Madison. Badgers were number 8. Michigan State was number 14. They beat us 86 to 74. Yeah, they have like athletes and they just play at such a pace. It's hard to keep up. Yeah, this was it. I remember this game. Their bench players were going nuts in this game. They had 3 guys on the bench that had double digits. Whew.
Is that the game that Tyler Wall missed?
Let me see the Bucks score again real quick here.
Let's say I have a no Tyler Wall ankle from the Northwestern game.
Yep, Tyler Wall did not play in this one. Brad Davison scored 22, was 6 of 10 from downtown.
Yep, yes he was.
Johnny Davis had 25. Yeah, so I didn't even remember that game when I was talking about it, but it's just right now they're kind of peaking at the right time to come to our house and beat us. And I know we don't lose a lot at the Kohl Center, but
and that's why I feel the way that I do about this, because I feel like they'll be in a position where they lose to Illinois on the road, and it'll be like a 2-point game or something like that.
Yeah.
Like there'll be like a foul with like 2 seconds left, and Illinois will take like a 2-point lead on some free throws, and the Badgers will miss like a deep 3 or something like that. Like that's how it'll end. And then they'll bounce back against Michigan State at home and win that game.
We'll see. Shit. Hopefully we go 3-0 and 2-0, and then we're talking about all dubs next week, man.
That would be sweet. Let's see.
Justin's asking you if that was a Sprecher, by the way.
It is a Sprecher, and it's very delicious. You should send them an email and say that they should sponsor our show.
That would be a nice thing to do if you're a nice guy.
I haven't asked them yet, but with them being a Wisconsin company, that would be an awesome sponsor. I have this one too. This is from the Big Ten tournament when they played Michigan State. Yeah, that game was tough because that was like Johnny Davis was hobbled in that game.
I remember that.
So yeah, that was a bummer. But
I remember we beat Michigan State at Michigan State, though.
Yeah.
Because that was.
I think they were averaging something like 85 points a game or something like that, and the Badgers held them like 66.
Was that the. You have to refresh my memory. Was that the game where you had to wear a different jersey?
Was that Michigan State?
I think it was Michigan State.
I'd have to look back and like find it, like the Johnny Davis number 51 game.
I'm pretty sure it was Michigan State. Johnny Davis.
Try and find it again.
51.
No, I have on here that it looked like Johnny Davis lost some bounce because that was when he had that kind of ankle injury.
See, it's right here, February 8th. Yeah, it's Michigan State. Right here, February 11th.
Get that one. This is free food. Brad Davison followed out with 23 points.
Right here, bro. There he is.
Nice. Did they hold Michigan State to really low scoring in that game? Because I got mad that Davison didn't contest a jump shot late in that game when they were down by 2. And like a guy made like a wide open elbow jumper that annoyed me.
I think they did hold him to a really. The jersey was just a little tight. Yeah, oh yeah. Here's the video where he got his jersey ripped, bro. At the free throw line.
Did they win that game though?
Yeah, they did because I remember he waved by. Remember?
He was waving by, yeah. You're right. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Not really that important. It stuck with me that the Badgers held Michigan State to like way below their scoring averages. Yeah. And like I said, I understand that it's a different year, different teams, different players, but yeah. All right. Is there anything else you want to say?
No. Let's just get ready. Let's just get people ready for Friday, baby.
You want to get ready for Friday? Check this out.
Yeah, what's that?
This is a Christian Watson apology form signed by Christian Watson.
Yep.
Like, Jake and I have been doing this show for actually almost exactly 2 years. I should check. I think it's like January 20th is when our anniversary is, like of our page. So like we're creeping up on 2 years. That might be one of my favorite things that I've got from the show.
Oh, easily.
Like having the apology form that we made and then having it signed. And yes, and we gave him one to keep too.
So he owns an apology form.
Yeah.
All you boneheads that are out there talking shit about him.
It was awesome. He laughed at it. He read them all and then he laughed at it. He signed one for us. It was funny though. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then I asked him about Quay Walker.
That
tackle. And he was like, "That was crazy, man." He was going to get a flag, and I'm thinking like, "Bro, you should have known I was going to get a flag, bro."
Yeah,
tried to throw his ass out of Lambeau.
Yeah, but yeah, having a Christian Watson apology form signed by Christian Watson, that's awesome.
Next one's got to be David Bakhtiari, man. Let's speak it into
existence. I would love to get David Bakhtiari to sign the David Bakhtiari apology form, and Rashawn Gary to sign his while we're at it.
And then we're going to have another one coming out. Let's just keep them rolling.
Yeah, and we're going to have to get the whole team on that one.
That's okay. One day we'll get there, buddy.
For sure. And we are excited because we do have another active Badger coming on next week. So we got that. Right. So yeah, we will have Ricardo Hallman on the show next week, which is cool. I'm excited for that. Hopefully we can just end up just rolling through the Badgers and get all the Badgers on the show and then have Luke Fickle on the show, and that'd be sweet.
Oh man.
Dude, if we get like a legit like one of the coaches on, that's we're getting into dream come true territory there.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I was sweet that we're having active players on, and like having Tim Dillard and Craig Kashan on the show is fun because you know, it's really cool because like you watch them on TV and stuff, and now we're talking to them. But,
man,
it's cool.
I was feeling like my hands were shaking when I was talking to Watson. I'm like, dude, this guy's why am I shaking right now? Probably because I watch him run super fast and score touchdowns on Sundays, which we will this Sunday too.
Brittany said it'll happen. It's good to have people that believe in us, Brittany. Appreciate it.
Brittany's always supportive. She's great, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you got nothing else, I got nothing else. I will see you on Friday. We are going to actually be joined. I forgot. I didn't even mention our other guest. I'm a dick.
I was waiting for it.
I know. I should have. Watson, that was on Monday night. We went and
Brittany,
saw him in Appleton.
Yeah, we brought Aiden. I told you I was bringing Aiden to that show to see the players, and we're debating if we're going to go on Monday. We're going to be a little tired on Monday, but that's Romeo Dobbs is going to be there. So
yeah. This Friday also we're going to have Mike Spofford back on the show as well.
Yes.
That's going to be our other guest. I forgot to mention that. I'm fired. Mike Spofford from Packers.com is joining us again on Friday. So he had enough fun and enjoyment from the first time, so he was willing to come back. So that'll be fun to have him back.
Oh yeah, man! That just speaks to our vibe, man. Our effort,
True.
To have a guy of that high profile to talk about us, and everybody that's been on the show has always talked about, hey, you guys are great. I had fun. I think that speaks to us as individuals. That we kind of keep it light. We're not trying to like grill you and get some crazy secrets, your deepest secret that you have.
Yeah.
But we're just trying to talk some sports, and I feel like we have a comfortable hangout for people to come here and just be a guy, being a dude. You know what I'm saying? So that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah. Like you said it well too, with good vibes, I think is important.
Yes, sir. Bill?
All right.
You're one of my favorites.
Yes, we will see you Friday as well, Bill.
Yes, sir. Take care, buddy. Go Bucks.
All right.